everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my sewing room. Today we are going to continue on with the 1830s Cinderella project. It's coming along. If you watched the last video, you will know that I finally accomplished the Bertha. And if you have not watched the last video, that is linked down in the description below, along with the rest of the videos so far in this series, because this is video number 5, I think, if you include the wig styling, because this project is taking a long time. But we're getting there. I think that we're gonna get close to finishing it this week. So I'm very, very excited about that. The first thing that I'm going to do this week is I am going to put most of the hooks and bars for the closure on the back. I'm going to sew those on. And I say most and not all because I can't actually sew the ones nearest to the waist down yet because I don't want to stitch the facing down until I have attached the skirts. I swear, this is if you give a mouse a cookie. Like, every single step of this project is that story. It's kind of driving me a little bit crazy. The other thing that I'm going to start out doing is to attach the lace around the bertha. So the lace is kind of going to taper because I don't want it to be the same length everywhere. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I have to gather up the lace and then I have to pin it in place and just see where it looks best. And then I can stitch it, hand stitch it in place to the underside of the bertha and then cut off whatever excess I don't need in that length. But that way I have the scalloped edge nice and, not even, but nice and how I want it around the outside of the bertha. Once I get those done, then I can go ahead and attach the bodice to the skirt. Finally. And then I can hem the skirt and I can add the ruffle in the skirt and the bows and the swags and all of that sort of stuff, and then it'll finally be done. But again, I don't think that's all gonna happen this week. So that's a lot of work to do and I better get started. So after I checked in with you yesterday, I went and did a bunch of hand sewing, but it was not actually the hand sewing that I said I was going to do first. I still have not done the closures on the dress. However, as you can see, she now has all of the lace on the bertha. So it turns out that I did not have to go to Joann's. The lace that I had, I gathered it up and I put it around the bertha. I just started like on one end and started pinning it in place, pulling up the gathers as I saw fit as I was going around the bertha. And naturally, when I got to the end, I was about 3 to 4 inches shy. Yes, but I didn't want to like regather, undo what I had already done, even though it was just pinned at that point. I didn't want to redo it because I really liked how it looked. But I realized that I actually had a very, very similar trim in my stash. This trim here was in my stash, and this is what this started out as, kind of. This is just a wider version of it. So I think this one, it's like 4 inches down of lace, and this one I think is like a 3-inch version instead. And what I had done with this lace was that I seam ripped off this whole top section and just wound up with the bottom section and gathered that up. So with this, I just cut off the top section since I didn't need that extra inch and gathered it up and put it to fit. So I do still have to sew the join, but I don't think it's very obvious. The join is right here and I've matched the pattern, and I'll probably cut it off so like right now it's overlapping by about 3/4 of an inch. I'll probably cut it off so it's even less of an overlap, and then I'll just do a couple of quick tiny little stitches to make it hide even more, blending it in with the stripes most likely, and that will be good. But now that I have done the lace, now I can go ahead and do the closures. So that will be my next bit. So I decided once again to change up the order of things, and I'm actually attaching the skirts to the bodice. So what's going on here, it's all just pinned in place right now, but I'm going to be stitching in this ditch here. I haven't quite decided if I'm going to attempt this by machine or by hand. I think I'm going to try machine, but I'm going to be stitching here in the ditch on this side or from this side. and that's going to go all the way until I meet the area that is cartridge pleated back here. Obviously I can't put cartridge pleats through a machine at all, so that part would have to be stitched by hand. Then from the inside, I will also be whip stitching where the top part of this is to the waist. I may cut this away. I'm not positive yet. I can't remember what I did on my last 1840s dress, if I did cut it away or not. Kind of thought I left it on, but I feel like I have to try it on first just to see. So that's going to be once I do the stitching in the ditch part. So stitching in the ditch comes first. Again, I'm going to attempt to do by machine in the front and then by hand over the cartridge pleats, because look at how thick this is. Like, oh my God. Yeah, you can't machine sew cartridge pleats at all. I've finished stitching all of the cartridge pleats in place from this side, as in by hand. I just did kind of a running stitch with pretty small stitches here going in and out from either side of the fabric, and I was able to do the rest of it by machine. I sewed by machine until I got to about here, and then this part all I did by hand. Now what I'm doing is I am stitching down the inside here to the twill of the interlining. So I'm just doing little whip stitches across the top of the cartridge pleats and then the pleats over here. I went and looked at that other dress. It was actually Governor Ratcliffe that I did this sort of configuration on, and I just left the inside part at the point. So that is my plan with this as well. I'm just going to stitch all the way across during those whip stitches, because I guess it didn't provide any more bulk or anything like that than without it. So that's my plan. I'm just gonna go all the way across there. I can also now stitch all of the facings down on the opening here, because I haven't pressed it yet, but I did go ahead and extend that facing past the waist down onto the skirt. So let me show you what this looks like on the dress form. So this is what she is looking like currently. I love all of the lace on here. I think it looks so cute. And the waist is all nice and attached now with the pleats and everything, so it looks so good. The only thing that's kind of looking weird, maybe it just needs to be pressed, is I feel like it's weirdly curved up right there. So hopefully that's not a thing, because yeah, that looks weird to me. But I like how she's looking, and I'm excited about all the progress that I made today. So anyway, that's it for me tonight. I will see you tomorrow for more of the hand sewing on the inside, and then maybe, now I gotta do closures, I guess, before I do the hem too, but more of the hand sewing on the inside plus closures. So I might not see you because that's really boring. Anyway, good night. I did actually wind up redoing the point there. So before I finished stitching the top of the dress on, I undid stitching the skirt on over the piping and undid the piping and moved the piping out a little bit so that it would fix the curve of that point. So now it is even on both sides. So this is a new one. I was happily sewing on the facings on the bodice, and I've marked my hooks to go on, and then the power went out. I'm actually surprised at how much light my phone is casting right now. I have my phone flashlight set up on a little overhead mount like a flexi mount, and I think I'm going to attempt to keep sewing because it's only midnight. I wasn't ready to go to bed yet. It's my Friday, and in other words, it's Thursday. And yeah, I wasn't planning on this situation though. So that's great. So, little adventure for Thursday night. And I'm going to attempt to sew by flashlight. Editing Rebecca here. I realized I didn't ever give an update on that sewing by flashlight thing. So it went okay. I finished the facings, but I decided it was not worth it to try to do the actual hooks and bars by flashlight because I feel like I would have lost a lot of them just on the floor and stuff. So I did wait until the next day, and then I did all of the hooks and bars and sewed all of those on. Okay, now back to past Rebecca. And here it is. It is not done. It's been a little while since I checked in with you, like a few days, because I've really just been doing handwork on this, which has taken, as usual, more than I thought it would. But all of the hooks and bars are done in the back, so it all closes up the back, and the waist is all stitched down inside and everything, and the facings are all stitched down, and I don't even remember what all else, but basically all of the handwork on this bodice, it is all now complete. So yay on that. That said, The bertha is definitely doing something weird. Like, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's just poofing right here. And I don't know if it looks obvious from like a viewer audience standpoint that it is poofing. I definitely notice it, but I don't know that there's really anything that I can do to make it lay correctly, which would be kind of more like this, pulling it down a little bit, but it wants to, I'll just show you, it wants to, when I release it, go up just a little bit. And again, like, I don't know that I care enough to fix it. So that's great. The sleeves, despite me taking them out at the lower elbow here, they are definitely still tight when I bend my elbows. So I don't love that either. And also I just feel like I should have taken the time way back when I first was doing the pattern to do this with my 1860s corset instead of my 1820s and 30s corset, because the waist reduction is just like not there, and I just feel like it looks really straight and not super flattering. So overall, I have to admit, I'm not really loving this dress, and I feel like I have spent now, you know, a month plus working on this dress that I don't love, and it's not even done yet. So that's just dandy. So as far as things that still need to get finished, I am going to do the hem tonight. I realized I can actually machine sew the hem because it's going to have the ruffle over it. So that is really great because that will make my life so much easier. As far as like where the hem is right now, it'll need to be a slightly less deep hem in the back and a slightly deeper in the front, just because I feel like it's hanging a little lower in the front currently. But that's fine. I mean, that shouldn't be a big deal to take up. It'll probably be 2, maybe a 3-inch hem, like not a big deal at all. And again, I'm just going to sew that by machine. So that will all be done tonight. And then I can start putting on the ruffle. I don't know that I'm going to get through the ruffle tonight though. So we shall see. Just as a quick thing so you can see how it all looks here. Ta-da! Ta-da! Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super loving it so far. Maybe once I add all the bows and the ruffle and everything, I'll change my mind a little bit, I hope. See you soon. And this is the finished hem. So it's just by machine, but it's gonna get covered with the ruffle, so I think that looks great. So that is going to be it from me on Cindy this week because I have run out of time to do anything. And actually, that is going to be it for me for Cindy for the next week as well, because next week I have a new special project for Pride. So check back next week for a fun rainbow-filled project. I'm super, super excited about it. And then I will be back to Cindy the following week, and we will be hopefully finishing her up and doing a photo shoot and taking all of the final reveal footage and everything. So do make sure that you are subscribed and hit the bell notification so that you are notified when those next 2 vlogs come out. Anyway, I do hope that you liked this week's video. I know that we didn't really get all that much done this week, and I feel like that is how it has just been going with this Cinderella project. It is taking forever, but I am excited to finally soon get her finished. That will be great. Anyway, if you like this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, as I mentioned, please go ahead and click subscribe and that little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube twice a week with my sewing vlogs like this out on Tuesdays and other costuming content out on Saturdays. But I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi accounts down in the description below. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Heidi and Sharon. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!